Hey everyone, welcome to my corner. I am your host Damian Brooms, and I am very, very excited to finally be shooting the introductory episode of this podcast. So, this has been a long time coming. I have, if you're part of my close circle, I've always said for months, maybe, over a year, that I've wanted to start a podcast. But the reason why I've never done it is because I've just always had the mindset maybe I'm not interesting, maybe nobody wants to listen to me, and quite frankly, sometimes I just don't even know what to talk about. And I think that's why I named this podcast Damien's Corner, The Art of Conversation, because I don't really have a specific direction of where I want to, take this podcast and what the type of content I'll be posting on a regular basis. I don't really have an avenue, if you're, understanding what I'm saying. But I don't think that's always a bad thing. It's like, look, I'm going to talk about things that interest me, things that I feel like, should be noted, things that I feel like that should be discussed, which is also why I have it, the art of conversation, because I believe some topics that people are scared to talk about or society thinks that is something we shouldn't touch. But I think it at least deserves to be notice. I think we should at least have a conversation about it so we can understand other people's opinions and differences on certain situations. Now, I'm saying that, even though I'm saying that, that doesn't mean I'm going to be talking about a lot of controversial topics. That doesn't mean that I'm just going to talk about things that's hurtful to other people or groups. The main point of this channel is to spread positivity. And something what I do like to do is to help people. So every episode that I will be posting and hosting is to ultimately help my audience. So in the future, I will have guests that could bring, certain knowledge and other things that they can talk about that can ultimately help you. A lot of my episodes, I'm just going to be discussing things that can help you also. So even though I love to have a conversation, and even though I think we live in a hypersensitive society, which is extremely easy to get canceled, even though I have those opinions, the goal is not to talk about topics that we know should be off limits. But I think there's a lot of things that we should have, a conversation about. That's something I also don't like about in today's world is that just because you have a difference of opinion or a different ideology, they just want to cancel you. People are just so stuck in their ways that when they have an opinion, they would just say, this is the way I think and it's right. And my whole objective is to prove you wrong. Which I think is completely the wrong mindset to have. I am such a provisional thinker, right? I can have an opinion one day and I could look at things, a certain way one day. But if new evidence is brought upon me, and it's valid, then I would say, you know what? This person is right. You know what? This new evidence supports counter to what I believed. And then, I would think a different way. That's how I think we should all be wired. But for some reason, we're not. So I love to conversate. I love to have conversations about things. And that's just going to be the basis of my channel, man. So I'm very excited to get started with this. And I just hope you guys love it. The goal is to, release an episode weekly. That's something I'm going to try to be disciplined about. And, the word discipline is very interesting. That's actually going to something that I actually want to talk about today, which is mindset. But the goal is to have a new episode come out weekly. All right. And, if I don't, I apologize in advance. There are some things I am currently balancing at the moment. But like I said, expect the episode from me weekly, most likely on Sunday or Monday. So I had a lot of things that I want to discuss today. I didn't know my first episode what I want to really talk about, but I had a few ideas. So before I turned on the camera and hooked up the microphone and everything, I had a plan. But as I started to ramble on a bit, something else came into my head, which I, previously stated, mindset. And this is resonating with me at the moment because I'm going through certain changes in my life. And the only way I was able to accomplish these things is by having a particular mindset. And that is something that has troubled me a lot in my past. We all have goals we want to accomplish. I had a lot of goals that I wanted to accomplish, and I have accomplished quite a few goals. But there were some goals that I didn't accomplish because I got in my own way. And then when I reflect back of how how did I allow myself to do that? It was simply nothing but just by me having a very pessimistic 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 mindset. Sorry about that. I was a pessimist, man. And I always just found an excuse of why things wouldn't work. I always just thought about the bad in people. I always just thought about the worst in the future. I wasn't really optimistic at all. And a part of that was because of me being scared. I was scared of the results that if I were to, put my head down and focus on a goal, I was scared of the results of what, I could achieve. As funny as that sounds, it was just a part of, what I was going through. You probably saying like, how can you be scared to achieve something? It's a bigger problem than that. You always hear how people say like, look, when I achieve something, there's also cons attached to it. The pros definitely heavily outweigh it, but I was just so focused on the cons that made me think that maybe it's not worth going after. Maybe this goal is not worth going after. So I knew that, hey, I want to change my environment. Hey, I want to make a few more bucks. Hey, I want to, go deeper into my career. But I knew by having some of these goals that naturally people in my circle will just be fading away. Naturally, I will experience some envy. And naturally, people will say, hey, Damien changing, when in fact it's me not changing. You are. I guess you could say I'm changing for the better. So maybe some validity to that. That yes, I am changing for the better. But in the past, I was like, I don't know if I want to go through so much drama. I don't want to go through all of that because it would have such a negative impact on my life. Which is just total BS, man. And by me having that mindset, it just held me back from achieving greatness. Now, look, I'm definitely not, where I want to be at the moment. I have a lot more room to grow. I have a lot more goals I want to accomplish. I have a lot more things to do. But by just simply flipping my mindset, it just makes me feel so much more confident. This makes me feel powerful, man. Like, it's a feeling that I can't even explain. I wake up every morning, just feel like I can accomplish anything that I want to accomplish. And that's just part one. If you believe in yourself and you just tell yourself every day it's going to be a great day, that I'm going to accomplish my goals, you're already on your way to success. You're already on your way to achieving something that you didn't even know you was capable of achieving. So having a great mindset, not to sound repetitive, but just having a great mindset is just so key in just building up yourself. It's so key to just achieve your goals. And that's something I didn't know how to do. I just had to figure it out myself, which I think most people, have to do. But there are some people who have supportive circles, and not saying that I don't. I definitely have people who love me in my life and who I love. But I chose to keep a lot of my emotions in, which is why nobody really helped me because they didn't know that I needed help. So I know people go through that. So that's another reason why I made this podcast. It's because that I know people go through things internally that people on the outside wouldn't know. And they may not know how to express themselves. or they may not even know where to go to seek for advice. So I'm here, man. I'm here to try to cover some of the problems or cover some of the topics that I know are bothering a lot of people. And this just could be an outlet for you to express yourself, you know, in the express yourself in the comments. I'll do my best to reply to everyone. Obviously I do want to have guests on here in the future. There's a lot to come with this podcast, but whenever you come here, just know my main objective is to help people, because I battle a lot of things mentally by myself, and that's not the healthiest way to do things. But I did it, and because I did it, I try to go such a solo path, which is the reason why I encountered so many obstacles. I had to start over several times. I had to battle myself mentally. It's one side of me saying, Damien, you can't do it. The other side is like, Damien, you can do it. Stop listening. Like the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your shoulder. Yeah, that's pretty real, because self-doubt always creeps in. And what I've learned, self-doubt creeps in. It's something that never really goes away. Whenever you take on a new challenge, or whenever you're taking on a new opportunity, or you just moving forward in life, it's something new. And self-doubt will creep in, but it's something you just have to deal with and battle with it. And you just have to find a way to push on and just keep on. Because if you allow that to linger around in your head, or if you just pay too much attention of it, eventually it will beat you. And I let it beat me so many times in the past. But now, whenever self-doubt creeps in, I just like, shut the hell up, bro. It's like, I've done too much to allow you to say what I can and can't do. All right? I let the angel on my shoulder tell me, like, damn it, you can't do it. If I don't know how to do it, damn it, find a way how to do it. Like I started a new role recently. And self-doubt definitely creeped in. I definitely suffer from imposter syndrome. Shoot, some days I'll be like, man, I don't know if I could do this job. But I'm like, and then I take a step back and like, okay, yeah, I may not know if I could do it. I may not know how to do the job now, but I'm going to find a way of how to do it. I'm going to study and look at extra resources to figure out what I have to do. I'm going to go on LinkedIn, Google search, and find best practices to see how I can achieve at this job. And that's just the mindset you got to have. So I'm in sales. Right? And the thing with sales, I think the common misconception with sales is that you have to be an extrovert. Me, naturally, I'm an introvert. I stay to myself. I'm very quiet. I don't really go out anywhere. The thing I really just do, I just chill with my fiance on the weekends, watch TV. I go out here and there, but I am an introvert. Now, with sales, you can definitely be an introvert and succeed, which is why it took me a little longer to finally say, you know what, you can do it. It took me a little longer to enter this field because I thought I couldn't succeed, which was just me telling myself BS, like I can't do it. And, in my short amount of time in this field, a few bright spots been, coming up here and there. I've been doing fine. And again, like I said, if you don't know how to do it, you have to invest in yourself, which is why I just finished this book called Fanatical Prospecting. If you're in sales, first of all, I think anybody should read this book because there's a lot of lessons in this book that I just take for myself personally. I made a post on my LinkedIn, I believe it's chapter 21, that again, it says to be a great salesperson, you have to have a great mindset. It's a mental game. Sales definitely is a mental game because your emotions are so volatile in this career path. One day, you feel like you're on top of the world. People are answering you. People are agreeing to your deals. People are just giving you the time of day. And the next day, you feel like you're the worst salesperson in the world because now everybody is saying, get away from me, because you're going to deal with a lot of rejection. But you have to push through that rejection to find the next person, right? So I think even with that mindset, it helps you out in life because we're all people, we're all human. We're going to get rejected in one way or another. Now, some people let that rejection gets to them, and then they will crawl into a shell and say, you know what, I was rejected this one time. I'm not going to do this again. Or, like in a job interview, there's a lot of when you're searching for a job, you're going to face a lot of rejection. Now, some people be like, you know what, I'm just going to stay on my current role because I'm getting rejected too much. So even though I hate this job, even though I don't like this job, I'm going to stay in this role because the interview didn't turn out the way I wanted to. Or people would just be like, you know what, I'm just not going to work. Because then letting that rejection get to them when that's not the case, man. It's something you have to deal with. So I love that, this book, it goes into it. And I don't say I wouldn't say I have a complete shield from rejection because as humans, we don't want to get rejected. It's just a part of us, right? So this book is also talking about when we get rejected, we go into fight or flight mode. So that's why sometimes when I get rejected, I probably have to take a millisecond or a second to gather myself. It's like, okay, you're rejected. Now let's find a way to move on. Let's not dwell on it. Don't dwell on the past. So, yeah. So, basically, I said all of that just to say, have a great mindset. Believe in yourself. And while you're having a great mindset, just do the things that you know you're supposed to be doing to move on. So, when I was in a job hunting process, I was getting rejected a lot, but I was continually interviewing, applying, networking, surrounding myself with people in that space. Because I'm like, I know it's going to pay off. I know I'm going to be great. Here I am today. Again, there's a lot more things I want to accomplish. But I got to have the correct mindset. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, I wanted to start this podcast for a long time. And to be honest, look, I might have one dedicated fan from this podcast. But it's still accomplishing the goal of I want to help people. So even if there's one person that said, you know what, this episode helped me, I've accomplished my goal. But I'm excited to see where this podcast goes in the future. I'm excited to see the fan base that, this podcast would attract. I'm just excited overall. There's a lot of things that I want to accomplish this year. And I could gladly say that, I have accomplished a lot of them. With the ending of the year, the podcast is something that I wanted to do. But, it's the end of the year. I guess better late than never. I don't really like that saying. But, hey, at least I finally got the proper mindset to do it. So, yeah. Yeah, guys. Thank you for listening. I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, but this was really just an introductory episode, and I'm just really glad that you guys decided to tune in. And look for guests to be coming on here. I have a lot of people that I want to come on here also. So yeah, drop a like, comment. I'm always looking for feedback. If there's things that you think I should improve on, or there's topics that you think I should talk about, let me know. All right, later, guys.